Hello, everybody, and welcome to the possibly 6th episode of the RNGcast. We're not sure. We're not counting here.
Yeah, 5.5, 6, 6.25.
5 3/4, you know, like the Lion King 1.5, that kind of deal.
Yeah, you know, we're not being too fuzzy about it.
And this podcast is brought to you by Corn.
Uh-huh.
Just Corn.
Not a can or...
Nope, just Corn, the person. Corn. The band.
Oh, Corn the band.
Yeah, the band.
So we're promoting Corn, right?
I guess. So this is all about Korn's new album. It drops this Thursday.
With fat Jonathan Davis.
No, this podcast is again about video game music, one of Phil's ideas. So
That's
blame
right.
him if you hate it. Tweet at him. He has a very active Twitter.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man.
But this time we're covering consoles from the 16-bit era. Phil will be doing Genesis. I will be doing the Super Nintendo.
That's right.
And so I guess I can kick this one off because the first song I'm going to do, we can't actually play in the background, unfortunately. It is a song from Super Mario World, which is a game I know you've played and I know you like.
To death, yes.
It was the first game that I played when I got my HD Super Nintendo. Like, it was one that I tested it out with for good reason, right?
Yeah.
And I think it actually came with the console, like, originally on release.
Yes, it's a SNES classic that came with the console in the 90s.
Yeah. And the song, I don't know the name, maybe you know the name, but it's like the most iconic song from the game. It's in one of the first worlds. It's like the
The first song.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever I think of like the Super Nintendo, that's the song I hear. There, just keep doing that while I talk. And this is how we get around copyright issues.
Fuck you, Nintendo.
But no, like, it's definitely the song that I've heard the most on the Super Nintendo, because like when I first got the HD Super Nintendo, I was testing out all the different video options, sound options, all that. So that was the game that I had going for all of it. And it really got stuck in my head, and then I played that level over and over and over. And yeah, I made up my own lyrics to the song. Maybe if we ever do the game, I'll sing it for you, you know?
So what was the feel of it when you're playing it?
It's very like happy new adventure, I guess would be the way, you know, like, let's see where this goes. We're on a fun little adventure, and then you die.
And then you die.
No, but that's really... So we've got some background noise from cars going on here.
Yeah, and it's not Nintendo related.
So don't come after us, Nintendo. Don't copyright those noises.
Yeah, so you were saying that Nintendo was a bitch about their song?
Oh yeah, Nintendo. They really don't like it when you use their music from Super Nintendo,
especially Mario songs.
Oh, especially Mario. Yeah, Mario, Yoshi, that kind of shit. Yeah, you can't really use it.
And I mean, it's 16-bit. It's been 20 years, but you know, copyright, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can use N64. So it's... And NES is, I guess, so old that they don't give a shit and the music is so low quality. But no, you can't, which is why you're not really hearing the song. Maybe I can find a similar MIDI file or something, but that's pretty much the best I can do. But yeah, that song from Super Mario World, for me, when I think of the Super Nintendo, that's the song I think of.
Well, I gotta say, yes, it's a classic. It's the first song you think of. And going in that tangent, I'm gonna go with the Sega Genesis game that came with the console. And I think any gamer or retro gamer knows Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Not Beyond Oasis?
No.
No?
No. Sorry.
That didn't come with?
I know you love it, but...
It didn't come with?
No cheese.
Then why am I playing it? Why am I playing on
No barrel of cheese.
No.
So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Of course, the first level, the first song, Emerald Hill Zone 1.
Yeah.
I mean... This classic Sega Genesis song is one that I think marked anyone that bought a Genesis back in the 90s.
Okay.
I mean, Sonic 2 was the game that came with the console, like I just said.
Yeah.
And I remember on the cartridge, it was actually written not for resale.
Oh, you had a not for resale cartridge?
Yeah.
Those are more rare.
These are the one that actually came with the console. Every time you had that, they had to say that, but you could buy it as just a game as well.
Yeah, well, they would sell it separately, but I guess they wanted to make sure that people wouldn't take the game out of the console and sell that one.
Yeah.
There's probably no difference whatsoever.
Not really. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's also the feel of it. You know, as you control Sonic through the vastness of the emerald green hills of the Sonic world, and you start going at speeds never seen before in a video game console. Blast processing, right?
Well, I mean, you could do speeds in Sonic 1.
Yeah, but not as good.
Not as good?
No.
Well,
and also, like, Sonic 1 didn't come with the console for some reason.
Was Sonic 1 not on the Genesis?
You know what? That's a good question. I know it was ported on Genesis.
But it was originally on, like, the Master System?
It might have been. I can't be 100% on that.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Sonic. The only ones I've played are Sonic 2 and Sonic Mania, so
yeah.
I don't know the lore.
Well, it's also one thing. I mean, I never had a Master System. And, I mean, I've played Sonic 1 after Sonic 2.
Yeah.
And just the fact that Sonic 2 came with the console is... I don't know. I can't be 100%.
Okay.
But, that's like... When you start playing a Sonic... Like the first part of the song, as you can hear it, is like really like you said, it's a new adventure. It's a new character. But as you go through and you start going like really fast and spinning around, it gets a bit intense, and the music gets more intense. You really have the feeling of a new beginning, and in mid-song, feeling of danger and speed.
Okay.
I mean, the Sonic 2 score was less electric than most of the other games on the console, but it has, in my view, a genuine cool feel about it. I mean, the electric fucking hedgehog with the crazy hair.
Well, that's it, man. Sonic, he's a cool guy.
And I mean, as you pursue Dr. Robotnik to his robotic worlds, I don't know, it had a really cool feel, I find, back in the 90s.
I do remember, I never played it on the Genesis, but I played it on the Wii Virtual Console. I do remember liking the first song. I can't recall it exactly, but I do remember liking it. So
it was pretty cool. And when I played Sonic 1 also, the first song, it was very cool too.
That one I can't remember at all.
The green hill zones. It's always green in the beginning. And,
of course.
And at the end of the game, it's very gray and robotic.
Yeah. Well, you're chasing Eggman, right?
Exactly.
You gotta get to his house.
Well, at this point, it was Dr. Robotnik. It changed to Eggman later on.
I think it was Sonic 3 where he called him Eggman.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He did look like an Eggman.
Yeah. It's a pretty good name for him.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, my second pick for the Super Nintendo is another song that I know you've heard and that you like. Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
The Mortal Kombat song?
What do you mean, like the Mortal Kombat team?
That one.
You mean like the one from the movies, not from the game.
It's in the game.
Which one?
The one that I've played on Super Nintendo.
Which one was that?
Or there's some earlier version of the song then that's on the Super Nintendo.
Maybe.
You'll be hearing it right now.
Okay.
It might be slightly different. I don't know, but I did recently play it, and that was the song that was playing.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I know I played Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, and I did play the Ultimate Edition with I think there was Rain, Smoke, and a couple of others.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 I remember Mortal Kombat 1, I think they had like 6 characters or something like that, or 8.
It's not a big roster, it's true.
In the beginning, and the more it went, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, they added more.
Yeah.
They even had one called Meat.
Okay. I don't know that one.
Which was pretty much a character with no skin.
Okay, no, I don't know it. I haven't played. I've played one of the most recent Mortal Kombats, and I've played a few of the really old school ones, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of just 2-player beat 'em ups, beating on each other. I don't know, what would you call that?
Two-player fighting game, I
guess it's fight. I'm not really a huge fan of that. I find they get boring pretty fast. You just kind of learn it and you're like, all right. But no, I remember the music. It might not be the exact song that I just quoted, but I know there's a song that's similar to it in the game that really stood out to me while I was playing it.
Well, I'm really wondering, which version did you play on Super Nintendo?
It was on Super Nintendo.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I know, for sure that song is a classic 90s.
Yeah.
Because Mortal Kombat, the movie, the live-action movie.
Oh, yeah, the great one.
Well, as a kid, I enjoyed it. Because I was like, oh, cool, Mortal Kombat.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, Liu Kang looks like he's he's retarded or something like that. But I never liked Liu Kang, so it's okay.
Actually, if you want to have a really fun time, watch the first one and then watch the second one immediately after, because all the actors are different and the budget is like half, and it's so bad.
Well, for the actors, I think it's a good thing, because
I don't know, man.
At least Liu Kang.
Like, if you remove all your main characters and just replace them, it's not going to do well.
Well, I mean, maybe they wanted to make a difference from the crappy.
No, I think they just could not afford the actors. Like, they got half the budget because the movie sucked.
Shit.
So they were like, let's just pump out another one. It'll make some money.
Well, the only cool thing I gotta say about the second movie is the first thing, Johnny Cage, it gets killed right from the bat. And in the beginning of the movie, he's like one of the characters I hate the most.
Okay.
And I remember that the soundtrack of the second movie was really cool. And I'm not talking about just the Mortal Kombat theme song, which is a classic. And
that's the most iconic, of course. But
there was I remember buying the tape cassette. Yes, I'm old.
You might have to explain what that is to our younger viewers.
Well, for our younger viewer, a tape cassette is a plastic box with holes in the middle and a film inside that actually contains music. And it's not a 4-track, which is even older than me. But back in the 90s, it was the shit. I mean, you had a Walkman, you had a button, you had your tapes and your mixtapes.
Think of like a smaller, shittier VHS. And if you don't know what a VHS is, why are you listening to a podcast on Super Nintendo?
Explain to us what a VHS was.
It's a plastic thing that outputs in 480i, and it has film on a plastic strip inside that winds. And it's basically just frame by frame by frame getting played for you.
So it's basically a big cassette tape.
Well, it is a VHS.
Well, like I said, it's got about the same layout.
It's just actually got film on it.
And the cassette tape, what was cool back in the days, is that if you even a cassette tape that you bought, if you covered the holes on the top, you could actually tape over it.
I'm trying to think. I wonder how music was put on cassettes. I don't know. That's weird old tech, because I understand how movies are done frame by frame, but that's interesting. I don't know. Now we're going to do a podcast on cassette tapes and
there you go. Well, I remember I used to do mixtapes all the time.
I had a Walkman when I was like extremely young.
Yeah,
like in the 90s there. I had one, and then I threw it out and got a CD player.
Yeah, I had that too.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about cassette tapes.
No, man, we're going with this.
But
Korn's new single out on cassette today.
I did have cassette tapes of Korn's.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But also like I was saying before, the second movie had some people would say, like, why is there so many fucking techno music in that movie?
Okay.
But they pretty much went on a tangent that the original Mortal Kombat theme was one, so they're like, every time there's a fight, we'll put one. A couple of fights, it actually fits, but at one point it's like, why?
Because they could, man, because they could.
Exactly. So going back to the podcast, my second game, I gotta say, I got 2 tracks that I really like in this game.
No, only one. There can only be one. It's Highlander.
And it's a Sega Genesis game called Vectorman. Mm-hmm. Most people don't know it. It's a Sega Genesis gem platformer. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's very... the one I want to talk about first, it's called, really weird name, Day 4 Absolute Zero.
Okay.
So you can hear it right now.
Maybe.
And this very electric song from the platformer game Vectorman is for me one that defines even more the Sega Genesis console at that point. Okay. It was a bit later in the Sega Genesis lifespan. Mm-hmm. So all the Sonic games and all the regular games were there already and established, So, but in this game, I mean, you control a robot thrown in an experimental world.
Okay.
He almost seems like kind of alien-esque a bit. And the song sounds like it's out of this world and very robotic. And you can hear it's very electric, like electronic, but really upbeat. For sure, it was done on a synthesizer.
Yeah.
But it really sounds cool, and it really sets the atmosphere of like kind of the unknown.
Okay.
And also a bit like outer space kind of feeling.
Okay.
So that's like the level 4 of the game, but when you start the game on level 1, which is another song I want to talk about for Vectorman.
Okay.
It sets the atmosphere for the entire game, and I don't know how to say it. I mean, you would I guess sometimes you would really have to play it to understand it, but it really feels like, whoa, what the hell am I, like, what is this game? Like,
okay.
You know what I mean? It's got a really curious feel to it, and you're like, you want to actually go further to see what's up with that game.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really one of those games, platformers, that you got to try at least once in your life.
Okay.
I find.
Well, hopefully it's not only on the Sega Genesis then. Or actually, they might have released it on iOS then.
It's possible.
Because they released all their old, well, actually, is it published? Is it made by Sega, or is it just on the Genesis?
That's a good question. I think it was only on Genesis.
Okay, because Sega re-released all the old games that they made on their old consoles, on iOS. You can get it on your phone.
So it might have been, yeah.
But if it wasn't made by Sega, probably not. But I will say, he was playing this track for me earlier, and I have heard the music somewhere before.
Yeah, you were saying.
And
that.
I have not played the game for sure. So yeah, I don't know where. Maybe it was just from him making me listen to it in his car.
Maybe it's just a cool song.
No. No, I don't know, but I've definitely heard it somewhere.
Okay.
Okay, so my next pick for the Super Nintendo is one that I don't think you've actually ever heard.
Okay.
Would be the level 1 song from Super Turrican.
Oh, no, I never played that.
No. So Super Turrican is a very, very famous game on the Super Nintendo. It was basically the Contra of the Super Nintendo. And like I've mentioned, I have an HD Super Nintendo from Analog.
Yeah.
And it came with the director's cut of Super Turrican.
Okay.
Because back in the day when the game was released, their publishing company didn't want to pay for the 6 megabit cartridges. And they only wanted to pay for the 4 megabit, so they had to cut out a third of their game. Okay. So finally now, in fucking 2018, the full game is released. And I think it's the same soundtrack, but again, this is when I was playing around with the console. I booted this game up. I'm like, hey, it came with it. Let's check it out. Let's see if it's any good. It's probably crap, whatever. And not only was the game really good, the moment I booted up and I heard that song, I was like, fuck yeah!
Okay.
It's one of the best Super Nintendo songs I've ever heard. Okay. It would be a song I could listen to without playing the game. You know what I mean? It's got a really intense rock vibe.
Really?
But a little bit spacey sound to it too, because you're kind of I think you're a human, but you're in kind of a robot suit, and you're kind of just going through just killing everything in your path, it's a side-scrolling shooter like Contra.
Yeah.
But it's not like Aliens, it's just robots and shit. I don't know, but the song is really, really good. It's very atmospheric. And it's the moment you jump into the game, you're fucking pumped. You want to play. You want to fucking kill all that shit. And it is a hard game. It's not an easy game.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say it's as hard as Contra, but we're definitely going to play it at some point, and you'll see more of it then. But
yeah, for sure.
Really good game, and especially that first song is fucking amazing. One of the best I've ever heard on the Super Nintendo.
Hey, it might be one of my next songs I'm going to be listening to.
And it's very different than most of the other stuff you hear on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that's the thing, at that point in the 16-bit era, you will have different types.
Yeah, exactly.
Either on Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo, or the Atari Jaguar.
Yeah, we got to do a podcast on that one, right? No, but it's true, because they finally have decent audio processing. They couldn't do much with the NES. I mean, they could make songs that were different speeds and different notes, but a lot of it sounds very similar.
Yeah.
Some of it's a lot more complex as well, but it has a very similar sound. While on the Super Nintendo, you'll have stuff like the Mario World song, which sounds just like a song.
Yeah.
Then you'll have stuff that's kind of like bit crushed, like the Super Turrican song. I don't know. There's a lot of variety, and I'm sure on the Genesis as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've heard some of like the electronic Genesis stuff, and I've heard the Beyond Oasis songs, which are more orchestral, I guess you would say. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes.
So there's a lot of variety in these consoles.
Well, that's what's nice too, you know. And the lifespan of the console, they really, depending on the game, they really change up the stuff. You know, a lot of it was synthesizer stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess the rest was just composers.
Well, that's it. This was also where they started involving like actual music composers.
Exactly. Well, they had some in the late NES games.
Did they?
Like, you know, Willow.
Yeah.
I mean,
was the guy who did the music in the Willow game an actual composer?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think at that point they were starting to have.
It's possible.
I don't know if you guys remember the last podcast, but there was Tim Follin, which did the Wolverine really electric.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned you're like maybe people know him from other stuff. Probably not.
No, probably not. I mean, if you're really like if you're as old as me and you're
80s.
Yeah. and you're very
back in my day
hardcore. If you're really hardcore about that song of the NES. Oh, I know the composer. He's fucking awesome. Oh, did he do any other games? No. That's just I know him.
No, it's true. This is around where they start involving like actual musicians, actual composers to make their soundtracks. Like, I'll bring it back to the Sega Genesis for a little bit. There's one Sonic game, I think it's Sonic 3 it's Sonic and Knuckles, where Michael Jackson was actually involved in the soundtrack. He actually composed a lot of the music.
And speaking of Michael Jackson, have you heard of Moonwalker?
Oh, that's your next game?
No,
I have. I'd like to play it, but
because there is.
Oh yeah, there's an MJ game.
Well, like 3 or 4 songs of the game is Michael Jackson's.
Oh yeah, really?
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
That's one of the games you're gonna have to play, man.
Well, we have to get a Sega Genesis, man.
With Mecha Jackson.
I've seen footage of it.
The king of Robopop.
Robopop?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Don't ask.
I've seen footage of it. I don't think I've ever seen a legitimate playthrough, though.
That's okay.
So what would be your next one? Because I segued to Sega Genesis here for you.
Yeah.
So you got to think of a smooth transition back to Super Nintendo.
And even though it's been done, we got to say it out loud. You know, it's important.
Yes. Got to make sure the audience is engaged.
Oh, engage.
So
80s.
So what's your next one there?
Well, I'm gonna go with the more calm one in that one.
Okay.
A game called Columns.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Columns is how should I say? It's like the Tetris of the Sega Genesis, pretty much.
Okay.
Columns is a bunch of gems, and you gotta make like
columns.
Yeah, columns. You gotta make columns of it. But what's really cool that I found, and even as a kid at one point, I remember just like to relax. I used to play the music of the game and just relax on my bed, which was fucked up. Okay. But
did you hold a controller and pretend you were playing in your mind?
Oh hell no. But what's fun? The one I want to talk about is called Latisis. When a lot of the songs in there, they actually had names, 3 names of it. I mean, if I remember, it's Clodo, Latisis, and another one. And these 3 are actually Greek mythology references.
Okay.
Which has nothing to do with the column game, for some reason.
Well, I guess columns. You see a lot of columns in Greek mythology with like the swirlies on top. You know.
It was funny because like Tetris was Russian. And now you get column was Greek kind of Roman kind of thing.
It actually could just be it was made by people from Greece. Like Tetris was made by people from Russia, so they put in references.
It's possible. I mean, I haven't researched it that much.
You should, man. You should come prepared. What are you doing?
Nothing. But as you can hear it, as you play the game, it's a nice, relaxing song. It's actually it actually sets the atmosphere, and as the game progresses and the speed of the game goes faster and you're like, holy shit, it actually, like some of the games like that, the puzzle games, the music will get more stressful. And you'll be like, oh fuck.
It speeds up.
Yeah, it speeds up and all that, like in Tetris. But in this one, it was actually very calm and soothing. And like I said, like I used to use that as relaxation music, which is like 16-bit music. and that shows you how much of a retro gamer music fan I am.
Yeah.
Even back in the days I used to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that really shows also the difference a difference in the sounds of the Sega Genesis.
The styles, yeah.
This is really more melodic. It's really got... It doesn't have an electric feel to it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not upbeat. It's like really
down and depressing.
No. Just just relaxing, you know. But I don't know. I kind of really enjoy it.
Okay.
And as you can hear it, like it would be something you could listen and just relax to it, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that's it.
Okay. Well, now my next one, I guess final one for the Super Nintendo would be, it's a very famous game. I know you have played it.
Okay.
And we were talking about real composers and real musicians doing the music. This music was done by Grant Kirkhope of Banjo-Kazooie fame.
Of course.
It would be Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, well, yeah.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's several songs on Donkey Kong Country that are really good. The one I'm going to go with first, and there will be two in this, but the one I'll go with first is called Island Swing. Do you recognize that one?
It's probably the first level, the most recognizable one. It's one of my favorites, actually.
It's probably the first level, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. Yeah, it's that one, yeah. It's playing.
Fuck the music.
Okay, it'll just be him. But yeah, it's like I said, it's Grant Kirkhope, who is a real musician and he's a composer, and this was like the first game he did music for that like got famous and like got his name out there. But the soundtrack on this game is just amazing. Like all the songs are good.
Well,
and it's
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you, of course.
Why you cut me off, man?
But I'm still going to cut you.
I was on a roll.
Yeah.
It's ruined.
Well, personally, I only like we said before, I actually listen to stuff like that, and I only picked two of them, like this one and the Aqua.
Okay.
The basically the Aqua theme.
Okay. Yeah. I don't actually know the Aqua theme, but this one I would have to agree with. And it's such like, it's an atmospheric song where it really feels like you're in the jungle.
Yeah.
And you're like on this crazy adventure, and it fits the style and the idea of the game so well. And now the other one that I will mention that I think is really good is the opening. Oh. The title screen opening, which I don't know if you'll remember it or what, but
of course.
I don't know, it's got such a great like feel to it. It makes you want to check the game out, you know what I mean? Like it really makes you like you hear it and you're like, this sounds fun, you know what I mean? Like that, at least that was my reaction when I first heard it.
Well, it is kind of a fun opening, and you see the old ape with the what do you call it?
Cranky Kong?
Cranky Kong with the crank. And he's,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, in the opening. Do you remember? Well, back in the days when you were listening to music, you had a crank and I think it was a phonograph.
Phonographs, yes, I remember those. Fuck, those are old.
So
that's how old he is.
So Cranky Kong has got a phonograph and he's playing the song, and that's what you're hearing. Yeah, it's really cool a reference.
That's actually interesting, because in Donkey Kong 64, they start with like a song and he's like DJing, and it's like a rap song.
Oh, dude, it was like late '90s, so now we got to get with the times with the kids, man.
Oh, have you heard that
DJ?
Have you heard the DK rap?
No.
Oh God,
I don't want to.
It's a nightmare in like the best possible way.
Well, in the same tangent, if you're
go right ahead. Cut me off again. It's fine.
Of course. But yeah, in the same tangent, in the '90s, it was the don't do drugs, people that fight the system. Oh my God, they're bad guys, you know.
Yeah.
And every single game is trying to be cool. So rap was starting to be pretty good. So yeah, we're gonna do a rap thing.
Down with the kids, man. Down with the kids.
Down with the kids, and don't do drugs, kids. So
Did it work? Did it work, Phil? Are you a cool rapper who doesn't do drugs now?
Oh, I'm like Will Smith, man. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, his nice clean rap.
A clean rap, Funny thing about that, it's kind of funny you mentioned it, because I've seen an interview with Will Smith, and the reason he's doing clean rap is because of his grandma. Because he used to do rap with like swear words and shit, because at the time that was the thing.
Yeah.
And his grandma heard that, and she was pissed at him, and she's like, "Why don't you do like rap with like no swearing and all that?" And that's the reason he's been like that the entire time.
Okay.
For his grandma.
All right.
What can I say? But so continuing on that. My last pick, is from Streets of Rage.
Okay.
So for the young audience, Street of Rage is a beat 'em up or beat them all kind of game.
Okay.
So you go to the streets, of course.
Are they rageful?
Yeah.
They're very rageful?
Yeah, there's lots of punks.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 90s, to put you in the setting, the punks, the skinheads.
Oh, the guys with the mohawks and the spiky mohawks?
Yeah,
Those were everywhere.
Yeah, these were everywhere, and for sure there were bad seeds and drugs and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually say that now, I mean, you can meet a skinhead or a punk, and it's the fucking nicest guy you ever meet. He just wants a fucking cool haircut, right?
Yeah.
But back in the days, it was like the anti-society enemy and all that, and it's like, oh yeah, fight the system and all that shit.
Yeah.
So Streets of Rage was pretty much based on that.
Okay.
I'm not basing my opinions on punks and all that on that shit.
Oh, he's anti-punk, man.
Oh yeah,
he's pro-establishment.
Pro-establishment.
Go the system.
Go the system. So
that'd be a hard catchphrase to use.
Yeah, and I mean everybody knows right now that most government are crooks. So they're just punks, but with suits.
Oh, I'd like to see that, like suits, but with the mohawks. I'd love to see that.
If they would really want to say the truth, they should have mohawks. But anyways, fact of the matter is, this song really sets the tone for that game.
Okay.
The game was really awesome. It was as good as Final Fight. Final Fight was a beat 'em up on Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And basically,
that's my thing. That's my thing today.
Next podcast.
No.
So yeah, you're just going around in very 90s electronic dance music. As you can hear it, it's very classic 90s dance music.
Okay.
And it's called and the song itself is called Fighting in the Streets.
Makes sense.
It's got nothing to do with Street Fighter whatsoever.
No?
No.
Just very similar name.
And I mean the Street Fighter is very recognizable songs, of course, as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, it's got a really electronic feel to it, but really dance. So you just go and it's a beat. You're beating up a bunch of punks, a bunch of fat guys with burgers or whatever.
Okay.
Bunch of different types of enemies. It's really fun to play. Battletoad vs. Double Dragon is a reference. I got it. If you know that game, it would be about the same, but with actual humans.
Most people only know the original Battletoads.
Yeah, but even the original Battletoad is a beat 'em up.
Yeah, just not a very good one.
No. But there was a Battletoad vs. Double Dragon on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis.
Okay.
Sega Genesis had a more electronic score to it, of course. Compared to the other one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a pretty cool beat 'em up, and I gotta say, Street of Rage 1, Street of Rage 2, it's really games that I played a lot. That's 2-player games.
Okay.
Couch 2-player games, which is something that is lacking really bad now.
Yeah, nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, it really sucks. I mean, you're with a friend at this place, and if you want to play 2-player, you might as well go back to your home and...
No. What you do is you bring your own TV, your own console, your own controller, you set up next to his, and then it's like you're playing split screen.
Yeah, you better have a car, at least.
Yeah, or just hire a moving company. I mean...
Oh, jeez. So, Yeah, that's one of the things I gotta say that I miss about the old retro games, the co-op couch games. I mean, there's a couple now. Like, I remember we played Overcooked.
Yeah, but those games are designed to be that.
Yeah,
it used to be in old games. Pretty much every game had a multiplayer mode.
Yeah, exactly. Even Sonic 2, but that was kind of
shitty.
Co-op, not co-op.
It was you give the controller to your little brother who you don't actually want to play with, but it'll keep him busy.
Yeah. He's like, I want to play. Oh, there you go.
Play Tails.
You play Tails, man. Yeah, he's awesome. At least in Sonic Mania, if you guys have been following us, in Sonic Mania, at least Tails can help to a certain extent much more than the original one.
Oh yes.
I mean, if you've seen our Let's Plays, he can actually carry you to places. In the boss fight, he's really good.
In Sonic 2, he could carry you, but I don't think he could do anything in the boss fights.
No, not much anyway.
Nah.
He was pretty random.
Pretty useless.
That's one thing that they actually fixed, kind of. But I mean, with Sonic, you can't really have two players because
I know.
I mean, Sonic just goes, "Let's go, woohoo!"
Yeah, I know. Like they'd have to
Sonic.
zoom the screen out so far.
Oh yeah, and at that point, it's like, oh, I can see the entire thing. What a mystery. Yeah. So yeah, guys. I mean, these are our picks: Sega Genesis and
SNES.
And SNES. It's still retro, but if you're ever curious about it, you're gonna hear it on our podcast. But also, you can just check on YouTube. You can probably find the games.
Oh, and I'm sure a lot of these games will play at some point as well.
Of course. I mean, even Super Mario World, we will do a playthrough of it, and you can actually hear the songs.
Yeah,
because there'll be the footage.
Nintendo will own the videos, but we'll do it.
But at least you'll have a feel for it.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed our little podcast. It's really fun for us to do it, I think, and it's really cool for me because, like I said before, I mean, I'm listening to all that music, and I'm really nostalgic about it. So I hope you guys get a little bit of it.
All right, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps up the podcast.
That's right.
Thanks a lot for listening. And what was it? We'll hear you in the next one.
Well, you'll hear us in the next one.
There you go.
Sega.